America, black people are treated very much as the Vietnamese people or any other colonized people, because we're used, we're brutalized. The police in our community occupy our area, our community, as a foreign troop occupies territory. And the police are there not to, in our community, not to promote our welfare or for our security and our safety, but they're there to contain us, to brutalize us and murder us because they have their orders to do so. And just as the soldiers in Vietnam have their orders to destroy the Vietnamese people, the police in our community couldn't possibly be there to protect our property because we own no property. They couldn't possibly be there to see that we receive the due process of law for the simple reason that the police themselves deny us the due process of law. And so it's very apparent that the police are only in our community, not for our security, but the security of the business owners in the community, and also to see that the status quo is kept intact.
People aren't hip to that yet. They're not really aware of it. They know some shit's going on in this country somewhere, but a lot of people out there don't know where it's at. They think it's the black people doing it, you dig? That all those riots are causing my life to be miserable in all areas, you know. And they really haven't focused in on the fact that it's the pigs and their mentors, the people who control the pigs, the power structure, those bald-headed businessmen at the Chamber of Commerce, you see? They're not turned on to that power structure. They just know that life is becoming increasingly miserable for everybody. See? But when they find out who it is that's causing the trouble, and who it is that's making life miserable, and who it is that's responsible for all their sons being murdered in Vietnam, when they get tuned into that, see, then they're all going to be just like the Panthers, see, because this is what we're tuned into. We see what's going on, and it's just a terrible. They're going to do the dog right here in Babylon.
When we first started, we had a police alert patrol, and we would patrol the community. If we saw the police brutalizing anyone, we would put an end to this. Usually the police wouldn't brutalize anyone if we were on hand, because we were arrested the individual, we would follow him to the jail and bail the individual out, whether he was a Panther or not. And we would gain many recruits like this. So therefore the community started to say that, well, these people are really concerned about our welfare.
I think the basic reaction to a cat that like experiences, I mean, who sees a guy go by in a black jacket or a beret. I mean a guy who sees the Panthers in action with their lives on the line. When he sees that, that's the end of it, you know, like he's either scared to death where he's gonna never commit no more crimes, do nothing wrong, you know, he ain't gonna jaywalk, or else he comes down, comes around and says that he can dig it, you see. You don't find a guy, black cat, just remaining the same after really seeing the Panthers. The guys on the block out there, man, they never have been too impressed by America, you know, by what's been happening to them. They're not impressed by that. They don't stand in fear of the cops. And this is the reason, one of the reasons why the Panther Party focused on the cops. Because the cops are out there and they're visible, you see. And this is the direct contact of the black people. You know, it's the man, it's the pig who's going to come and bother them, you see. But the only thing that has been lacking was a method by which to really move against it effectively. And those other, and those non-violent tactics and those Nala and whoever, brothers didn't want to hear that. And so here all of a sudden, here come two niggas with some guns, stand up in front of the cop and talk to the cop just like the cop's talking to them, you know. If they check that out. If they don't decide that their life is too precious, you know, that they must live forever to the party.
not a self-defense group in the limited fashion that you usually think of self-defense groups. I would like to use an example when Fidel Castro started the revolution along with Che Guevara, with 12 of them all together. They realized that they wouldn't be able to topple the oppressive regime in Cuba. What they were essentially was an educational body. They engaged with the Army, they fought with the Army, and they showed the people that the Army was not bulletproof, that the police were not bulletproof, and that Batista's regime was not a regime that was impossible to topple. So the people started to feel their strength. The Black Panther Party feels very much the same way. We think that this educational process is necessary, and it's the people that will cause the revolution, and it's the people that will cause the change in the country. The Black Panther Party is simply the vanguard of the revolution, and we plan to teach the people the strategy and the necessary tools to liberate themselves.
No more brothers in jail. Off the pig. The pigs are gonna catch hell. Off the pig. No more brothers in jail. Off the pig. Pigs are gonna catch hell. Off the pig. No more brothers in jail. Off the pig. Pigs are gonna catch hell. Off the pig. No more brothers in jail. Off the pig. Pigs are gonna catch hell. Off the pig. No more brothers in jail. Off the pig. The pigs are gonna catch hell. Off the pig. No more brothers in jail. Off the pig. The pigs are gonna catch hell. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community. Off the pig. No more pigs in our community.
The focus of all of our activity is Huey P. Newton, and the need and the demand that he be set free. We're trying to kill him, you see. It's for the people to become aware of what this is all about. And this is why I like this idea about film, because people can get to know more about that. They can see things, you know. If the people have to stand up and demand, they have to understand that they have a right. They have a right to demand that these judicial procedures be carried out in the right manner.
The revolution has come. Off the pig. It's time to pick up the gun. Off the pig. The revolution has come. Off the pig. It's time to pick up the gun. Off the pig. The revolution pick up the gun. Off the pig. The revolution has come. Time to pick up the gun. Off the pig. The revolution has come. Off the pig. Time. Off the pig.
The Black Panther Party made a coalition with the Peace and Freedom Party, which is primarily a white group. We see it necessary to fight. We must liberate the colony. The revolutionary students play a great part in saving America. If it were not for the white students, the Black Panther Party would react to the racism in the country and therefore respond with racism. White students have been the foreign policy of the United States. States withdraw from Vietnam, stop brutalizing the Vietnamese people. And we feel that the white care of the blacks first, and they should not to say that they shouldn't denounce America's treacherous actions abroad. I think they can be done at the same time. The criminal activity of America here in the homeland.
Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of this. Let's get into the inner workings and the meaning of a black revolution and why black people have a right to take what's theirs. You can read the platform in the program. It's a basic program, and it simply says exactly what black people have been crying for 400 years. One, we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our own black communities. Two, we want full employment for our people. Three, we want decent housing fit for shelter of human beings. Four, we want an end to the robbery of the black community by the white racist businessman. 5, want decent education that teaches us about the true nature of this racist, decadent system, and education that teaches us about our true history and our role in the society and the world today. 6, want all black brothers to be exempt from military service. 7, 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people. 8, we want all black brothers and sisters held in federal, county, state, city, jails, and prisons to be released because they have not had a fair trial. They've been tried. They've been tried by all white juries who have no understanding of the average reasoning man in the black community. Number 9, this is where Brother Huey is being caught. We just want the courts to make sure we have peers on the jury or people from the black community as defined by the jive Constitution of the so-called United States. 10 is a summary with a major political objective. And that is, we want land, we want bread, we want housing, we want clothing, we want education, we want justice, and we want peace. And the major political objectives, we want a black plebiscite, and the UN, the black colonial subjects will participate in dealing with, analyzing, projecting politically upon the racist atrocities that have been committed against black people in this nation. So the concept is this, basically. The whole black nation has to be put together as a black army. And we're gonna walk on this nation, we're gonna walk on this racist power structure, and we're gonna say to the whole damn government, stick 'em up, motherfucker. This is a hold up. We come for what's ours.
On May Day 1969, the Black Panther Party held rallies across the nation, demanding that jailed Minister of Defense Huey P. Newton be set free. On the original May Day in 1886, Polish, German, Irish, and Italian working people held the first massive strike in America. Organized in Chicago to gain an 8-hour workday, it spread to all the major industrial cities, and on May 1st was supported by hundreds and thousands of working men and women. But the millionaire rulers of America were determined to crush the people. Armies of city cops and hired goons shot them down in the streets, and the strike leaders were arrested, tried, and hanged. The Black Panther Party today is carrying on the same fight for all working people, white and black, and for this they have been slandered in the press, murdered in cold blood, and framed and jailed by a ruling class jealous of its power.
People! Free Huey! This is the most beautiful demonstration and gathering of black and white and revolutionary people the Black Panther Party has ever had the honor to preside at. All power to the people is becoming a reality because the people have come out here to stand for hours, to stand if necessary for days, in front of these pig court buildings, to demand that Huey P. Newton be set free.
The state of California says that Huey Newton is a danger to the community. What do you say?
Right on. People have been working to free Huey ever since Huey P. Newton first was shot in October of 1967, just as hard as Huey P. Newton was working to free black people in 66 when he started the Black Panther Party.
Now, I know you heard a lot lately about what pig mafioso Mussolini Aliotto has had to say, like he wants to destroy the Black Panther Party.
On Monday, there's a lot of propaganda going on for today. And the Panthers, they were making an extra hard job to go and mobilize the people for this rally. The pigs they sought to stop this. Got on the loudspeaker, and this is what he said. Everyone in the Panther office, come out with your hands up and leave your guns. We don't take orders from pigs, so we didn't do this. By the time we got out the back entrance, there was about 4 pigs waiting for us at the gate. The tear gas had affected us so bad that one of the sisters, she couldn't see where she was going and she was falling. So the field marshal grabbed her and he was holding her up. The pig said, "God damn it, nigga, I told you to get your hands up against the motherfucking wall." So the field marshal said, "I'm trying to hold this sister up. She's about to faint." When he said this, I don't know the pig's real name, but the Panthers call him Big Red. Big Red turned around and leveled his M16 at Don Cox's head and fired about 5 rounds from a fully automatic weapon. The bullets went through his hair and bounced off the wall. He tried to kill the field marshal of the Black Panther Party, Don Cox. At this time, there was about 2,000 people on the scene, and the pigs started firing their Thompson machine guns and their M16s over the people's heads. And then pigs were grabbing our sisters and throwing them down and just generally running them up.
Today centers around the invasion of fascism in our land. Well, the Black Panther Party and black people and Mexican-American people and all people are saying there will always be Huey P. Newton and the Black Panther Party as long as there's black people living in existence. Right on! Free Huey! to show this United States government this red book. Is this the answer? They said it. You hear them? Do you hear them in there? They talking about the red book by Channing Mao of Red China. That's what they got in their hands. The people are tired of the bullshit. They're tired of all that theory that's written down on paper. It ain't being put on practice. And they got this red book. In the papers this morning, they're saying that the Black Panther Party is subversive. Well, this is all the Black Panther Party has to say to all those pigs in the power structure. The Black Panther Party, along with other members of the community, are feeding 2,000 young brothers and sisters every morning. If that's subversive, then damn it, we subversive.
As you know, we have initiated a free breakfast for school children. The reason behind this is because we understand that our children go hungry. Because we understand that the pigs won't get up off their ass and give us no food. Because we understand that there's a oppressor. The Black Panther Party says that we're going to serve these children. We're going to feed them every morning. They get a full meal, grits, bacon, toast, eggs, everything they need for the whole day. We need the people's support. We need your actions. We need your money. We need your donations. And we need your time. The breakfast program is a program for the people and by the people. All the Black Panther Party has done was taking the basic needs of the people and putting them into practice because we are practitioners.
We're saying that if it had not been for Huey P. Newton, there would not have been any breakfast for children. If it had not been for Huey P. Newton, community control of police would not be in the process of being implemented by the people. If it had not been for Huey P. Newton, free health clinics would not be in the process of being implemented in the black community. If it had not been for Huey P. Newton, the 10-point platform and program of the Black Panther Party would not begin to be implemented by the people, and not only black people, because the Chinese Americans, the Red Guard, has copied the same 10-point platform and program, and they got a right to it. An Indian American organization, NARP, named NORP, has copied the same 10-point platform and program of the Black Panther Party, and they got a right to it. We're just waiting for this racism to break down when we see the poor white Appalachians up in the mountains copy the same 10-point platform and program and go forth to destroy the Nixons, the Reagans, and the pig Aliotos.
And let me say one thing to the white people in the audience. Now, you know, Bobby has been saying for a long time, we will not fight racism with racism. We refuse to stoop to the level of a racist to hate somebody because of the color of his skin. Well, that's fine. But I see a lot of white people walking around and say, oh, good. Now the Black Panther Party don't hate me. I can go on about my business. That's a cop-out, brothers. And if you act like that, the Black Panther Party will hate you. Not because you're white, but because you ain't taking care of business to organize other people. Teach them the need to support the black liberation movement led by the Black Panther Party as a strong, fearless voice against American imperialism, and to link up with all the people in Vietnam, in China, in Cuba, in Angola, in Latin America, and everywhere else who is standing shoulder to shoulder to drive this vicious beast out of the way and out of the pages of history.
When the party says power to the people, we ain't jiving a pound. We say power to the people. And when the people say to Reagan, when the people say to Alioto, when the people say to Pig Richard M. Nixon that we want Huey P. Newton free, we're saying you bald-headed pig punks better get out the way because we tired. That we're saying you better let Huey go.
Huey wants to be out here so he can provide the leadership to the people's revolution, so he can take this country and change it, turn it upside down and put the last first and the first last, not only for black people, but for all people. Everybody knows that all the people don't have liberties, all the people don't have freedom, all the people don't have justice, and all the people don't have power, so that means none of us do.
The only way we're going to get some freedom, and the only way we're going to get Huey P. Newton free, is to understand where we, the people, are. I want you to repeat after me. I am a revolutionary.
A revolutionary.
They have
have never lacked the Black Panther Party standing up and saying we revolutionaries and practicing revolutionary action. They have never lacked the Black Panther Party standing up and proving through social practice that we're not racist, but proving that they, in fact, are the real racists. They have never lacked the Black Panther Party saying that we want some socialistic programs implemented in the black community so we can survive and be free. They have never lacked the Black Panther Party and the people talking about we want some community control of police. They have never lacked the 10-point platform and program of the Black Panther Party. They have never respected Huey P. Newton, but we respect Huey P. Newton. We love Huey P. Newton. We love all our people. We love all our people. We love our people so much that if the pigs attack us, we're going to defend ourselves rightfully with guns and force. And that's our message to Pig Alioto and Richard M. Nixon's America. Thank you, and free Huey!
fact that we were brought here for economic reasons, and that was to pick cotton, and not because there was any inherent hatred in the nature of the white slave masters. Historically, all ethnic groups that have come to this country have been brought here for a political reason, like the Chinese. If they didn't have railroads to build, they wouldn't need the Chinese. It's quite the same in the case of black people. No cotton, they wouldn't have needed us, and we would have been just an additional burden. The reason that black people eat chitlins and sing the blues is not because we were wild about cheap meat and sad music, but because our economic base dictated it.
If the pig power structure didn't have the cotton, they wouldn't have needed us. The question was economics. The question was economics.
Capitalism is the disease of mankind that allows 5% of all the people to control 95% of all the wealth. Greed is the purpose. Racism is the excuse.
Racism could be traced back in this country to the fact that in order to legitimize free labor and the types of things that were done to keep black people continually working on these plantations for free, it was necessary to say that black people were, inferior and so forth and so on. And all these racist ideas came out of the need to perpetuate a certain type of society and not having the ability to do that other than through slavery.
Have you ever stood in the darkness of night, screaming silently, you're a man? Have you ever hoped that a time would come when your voice could be heard in a noonday sun? Have you waited so long till your unheard song has stripped away your very soul? Well then believe it, my friend, that the silence can end to get guns and be men.
This rally is important because this is where the Black Panther Party, Black People's Party, gives you or allows you to hear our programs, the constructive programs that we have for the black community, which the racist press does not want to let you hear. All they want you to hear is guns. All they want you to hear is about black people running down the street, see, doing nothing, just running wild. Well, that's not what it is at all. It's not what it is at all. It's time that black people begin to wake up, that all Americans begin to wake up, because it's getting very, very late. We have concentration camps ready. It's not going to be just black people in there. They're going to be putting all people who are trying to work for their own liberation, who are trying to control their own community. It's important that people understand that. It's important that black people get together.
The US organization shot John Huggins in the back and shot Bunchy Carter in the chest, and they were dead. Two of our brothers who were our leaders and who were beautiful, beautiful men were shot down by pigs, and they were not white pigs, and they were not uniform pigs, they were black pigs.
Ron Kareem was so pregnant with visions of power that he went so far as to have two of his bacon strip lackeys assassinated, the Deputy Minister of Defense, our Prentice Bunchy Carter, and the Deputy Minister of Information, John Jerome Huggins.
Rockefeller's the same one who gave the gas stations to Ron Kareem and them under the name of some kind of black pride. As long as it's pro-capitalist, pro-imperialist, well, it was quite all right.
This isn't a thing between the Panthers and us. This is a thing between us and the black community. And this must be understood. And I blame black community for letting this thing happen to the Panthers. Because when we sat back and let them pinpoint the Panthers and rip them off and we didn't do anything about it, this is what gave them the go-ahead signal to keep on.
We know that when you step out and stick your neck out, you only have one thing coming. There's only one demand that you can put out. And it was put out by Che Guevara, and I want to quote him when he says that wherever death may surprise us, it will be welcome, provided that this, our battle cry, reaches some receptive ear, that another hand reaches out to pick up weapons, and that other fighting men come forward to intone our funeral dirge to the staccato of machine guns and new cries of battle and victory. All power to the people. All power to the people.
When we were in Scandinavia and we told the people about our free breakfast for children programs that we had going in the ghettos, you know what they would ask us? They would say, will you feed white kids too? We feed hungry kids. We feed hungry children who are raised in the richest nation on earth. We feed children in a country where the farmers are paid not to grow wheat. We feed any hungry children in a country that pours milk in the ocean to keep the price up. We feed any hungry children in a country that destroys butter to keep the price up.
This system is the #1 obstacle to human progress on the face of the planet Earth. That's what it is. They have an old saying that our ruling class never learns anything from the lessons of history. And I think that we have ample evidence that this is true. That in the face of a worldwide uprising of the people against exploitation, against imperialism, against racism, we say that the people must rise up against this, take an unyielding stand against it, no matter what the price.
On December 8, 1969, 300 Los Angeles police made a highly organized, premeditated attack on the central office of the Black Panther Party. People in the community and black and white people all over the country recognized that this wasn't an isolated attack on one organization, but on all black people and all oppressed people. The Panthers have tried to draw oppressed people together. The Panthers were never racist. They always talked about oppressed versus ruling class, not black versus white. With their program of free breakfast, free clinics, and free clothes, they've started to teach the people that they'll never have enough food, clothes, shelter, and medicine under a system controlled by a small minority for their own profit, not for the good of the people. Finally, the Panthers talked to the people about armed self-defense, about how they shouldn't be afraid of the cops, the employees of the ruling class, just because they have guns. That's why the bosses are afraid of the Panthers. They talk against racism, about poverty, and for revolution. People everywhere have to understand that an attack on some oppressed people is an attack on all, and further, that an attack on their organizers is an attack on their right to defend themselves against repression. We have to begin to see that we can't believe the false hope that the ruling class talks about, that the system can actually serve us. We have to see that the true hope is a revolution to take power away from them, a revolution of oppressed people everywhere led by the working class.
You know that dignity, not just equality, is what makes a man a man. And so you laugh at laws passed by a silly lot that tell you to give thanks for what you've already got. And you can't go on with this time-worn song that just won't change the way you feel. Well, you believe it, my friend, that this silence can end. We'll just have to get guns and be men.
And we dig on all the people that held up the light before. Marx, Lenin, Stalin, Lemon, Malcolm, and flesh of our flesh and blood of our blood, those brothers and sisters that are doing it in Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Guinea-Bissau, Angola, and our comrades in arms in Asia and Latin America.
Chairman Mao says that Leninism teaches that the world revolution can only succeed if the working class of the capitalist countries supports the struggle for liberation of the colonial and semi-colonial peoples of the world, and if the working class of the colonies and semi-colonies support the liberation struggle of the working class of the capitalist countries.
One after another, the oppressed peoples of the world have seen that in order to throw off the exploitation by the big bosses of the U.S. and other imperialist nations, in order to survive and to live like human beings, they've had to organize their fight. They've succeeded only by uniting on the basis of complete equality. The oppression of one nationality, one color, one sex by another strengthens the ability of the imperialists to dominate workers and other oppressed people by dividing them. Working people here have to look to the liberation struggles of the nations of Asia, Africa, and Latin America as models and begin to fight against all the ideas and inequalities that weaken our ranks. We have to unite with the workers and other oppressed peoples of these nations fighting for their liberation against our common enemy. And here in the U.S., we have to unite as one people led by the working class, black, brown, yellow, red, and white, man and woman.
Yes, it's time you know who you really are, and not try whitewash the truth. You're a man, you see, and a man must be whatever he'll be, or he won't be free. If he's bound up tight, he'll hold back